Hey everybody, Kaysha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin.
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking. And here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story, why we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the CARES Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigations for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city, house, or state without permission or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the CARES Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the CARES Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you, everybody, for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CARES Project podcast. We are continuing our discussion on some of the nonsense that's gone on. Some of the stuff with Kanye West and how he was drugged against his will and his children were used to provoke and aggravate and so forth. And, we're going to look at some of the stuff with the conservatorship with Britney Spears and how this kind of stuff is being used on all kinds of people. So you want to kind of say something before we get into it, or not? All right, we'll just get to it here. Clip here. All right, we're gonna bring up this thing here. I had this set, but we'll get it up anyway. So we know that there's had a lot of issues there with Britney Spears and so forth with what she's been going on. So I'm gonna pull up a clip of her and some of her behavior, which has been, I mean, the subject of a lot of questions as of late. Because anybody can sit down. You need to, you can look at this and understand that there's obviously an issue. So let's get to it.
Britney Spears' behavior on social media has been a cause for concern for her fans and the public in general. In recent years, Britney has been under conservatorship, which has led to some of her posts and activities on social media being monitored closely. Many of Britney's followers have expressed concern about her well-being, as some of her posts have been erratic and confusing. Fans have been worried about her mental health and have been calling for her conservatorship to be lifted. Britney's social media behavior has also sparked a movement called #FreeBritney, which aims to raise awareness about the conservatorship and the impact it has on Britney's life. Despite the concerns raised by her fans, Britney has continued to maintain an active presence on social media, posting updates and messages to her followers. However, it's important to remember that the content she posts may be monitored and controlled as a result of her conservatorship.
Yeah. So she was basically under the control of other people. And I mean, some of her stuff has even got more questionable and so forth. I mean, giving anybody else complete control over what you have is, I mean, that's kind of questionable to begin with. But I mean, yeah, this is nonsense. I'm gonna bring up a clip that Candace Owens talks about with this whole situation here as well, as she weighs in on this. And so let's listen to what she has to say.
I'm not really sure why the paparazzi have me going on a plane looking like I'm wearing a Jason mask. It doesn't even look like me. I don't know why I have a torch in my hand, honestly. But anyways, it's my birthday. I'm not turning 42. I'm turning 5 this year. I'm turning 5 years old. And I have to go to kindergarten tomorrow.
So look, she could be joking, like making a joke about getting older, and maybe people could have taken that too far. But people obviously have their concerns because in each video, she doesn't seem herself. She hasn't seen herself in a very long time. You have to understand, this woman was forced into a conservatorship. I personally believe she was having a breakdown because the paparazzi wouldn't leave her alone and she wanted privacy. Let's not laugh at what happened to Britney Spears. I think she's lived through a lot. And I say that as someone who just has like the most compassion in my heart for artists like that, because of the things that Kanye told me personally and attempted to tell the world. Was everybody laughed and mocked him.
So a lot of the times when people are trying to talk about stuff, they're just like made fun of. They're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about, and so forth. So when you get like the doctors that come in and say stuff, everybody believes them without question, right? And so this becomes, a big issue because people, they don't get the same type of belief when they're not part of the medical establishment or they're not a judge or anything else like that. People believe those kinds of people as if they're God. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's nonsense. Sorry guys, I'm still a little bit sick actually. So I'm don't mind me if I'm like really slow the last couple of streams of this one. But yeah, I don't just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're telling the truth. And it's very strange what Britney is going through. Who knows if the medication or whatever they're giving her is making her act that way. Like, it's very unusual behavior that she's doing. So it's like, obviously there's something really wrong going on. And it's weird that um, her behavior is getting worse and people are just like, oh, that's her. But it's like, if she's in a situation where she's under some sort of conservatorship still in some capacity or some handler by some means, then the people who are responsible for taking care of her, why are they not doing things to help her, get better? It's weird. Like, the whole thing is weird. Dancing with knives. I seen the video. She was like dancing with knives on social media, and we're like, it's like people kind of see that stuff, but it's like, what can you do? Like, that situation is so locked down, I guess, in a sense, because we don't have any evidence of what's going on. We don't know what's actually going on. And a lot of these people in these situations, I don't think they're in positions where they actually document things very well or know how to or have from the beginning, because a lot of them don't have the foresight to see what's going on until it actually happens, and whether that be because they started at a young age or because they've been drugged up or under the influence or alcohol or whatever, who knows. The fact is, they haven't taken an adequate enough record for people to really have an idea of what's going on. I think Kanye actually, he been recording his life since before that college album or whatever, um, which is a long, long time ago. Like, I think he'd been recording his life since the 90s, low key. So, I mean, but do you see what I mean? It's kind of like a little bit of a difference where you can kind of see the progression of something versus where, with other people, you only got what the media was showing you about those people, like Britney, because Britney was not out here recording her life like that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, yes. And I mean, this is one of the things, even in our situation, with having the regular podcast, people see what was going on. And it was like
Right.
when people were trying to say, oh, well, you're crazy. It's like, really? So I consistently
Right.
put out this work
Like,
but I'm crazy and people can understand while I'm talking on a podcast. But whenever I go into a court, it magically becomes gibberish, right?
yeah, like, or when I was in when we were in Colorado, and I was like tweaking out, like just sitting down with my head covering my ears, just like ignoring everything and like stuttering when I was trying to talk because I was so fuming, because the lady was literally a convicted pedophile. But everyone was confused why I was stuttering and tweaking out. Like, this lady is a pedophile. What would you do if it had come to your attention when you're in a dire situation like that? It's like everyone's always confused about the response of somebody, but no one is confused about the person who actually done the evil. Like, do you know, like, people, this is the even the thing with this is why I don't even understand people's response to like Kanye and Britney and stuff, because to me, I'm not looking at them like, oh, these terrible people. Like, that's not really how I look at it. I'm like, okay, what's causing them to respond this way? What kind of treatment did they go through, or what kind of things? A lot of people, what they also don't realize is when people are in situations where they're being abused, a lot of times if they're refusing to respond negatively to others, that that response will reflect back on themselves because they're not taking it out on anyone. Like how I said, I was just sitting there covering my ears, and the lady kept coming up to me trying to touch me and like talk to me, and I was trying to restrain myself from like going to jail that day. And then because I was end up doing that, that's why I was like tweaking out and like stuttering and stuff.
Well,
So I was that ripping mad. But this is what people don't understand. A lot of the effects of trauma on people is because they are refusing, they're trying to restrain themselves even under duress. And that can cause people to go crazy.
yes, it is, because people being put under duress without relief does a lot of bad things, especially
Yes.
when they got
Yes,
PTSD.
without any relief.
And yes, some people do things and make bad decisions and even really bad decisions, but it doesn't give somebody the right to do something really bad to them either. So
Right.
let's look at somebody's going to break down her conservatorship and what kind of that is. So let's look at this next video.
Back up! This is a story about how Britney Spears fans started a movement to fight for her freedom.
The Free Britney movement. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm very keen on freedom.
For as long as she's been in the spotlight, every part of her life has been under intense media scrutiny, with paparazzis following her every move.
People talk about my private life. I know that, as a celebrity, that's what goes along with what you do. It's none of your business.
And on top of that, for over a decade, Britney Spears has had zero control in her life. And while she's rarely spoken about it publicly, her fans have become increasingly concerned for her well-being.
We all know there's something going on with Britney.
And they believe there are signs of distress hidden in her social media posts. But let's rewind. 14 years ago, in 2007, Britney infamously shaves her head, and the paparazzi are there to capture it. Rather than considering the state of her mental health, the media creates a frenzy around her, calling the incident a mental breakdown. Fans speculate that this could be an act of rebellion, or a result of postpartum depression. After all, Britney has given birth to 2 boys in less than 2 years. After the incident, the 27-year-old is committed to a mental health facility against her will. She's classified GD, greatly disabled. Basically, she's deemed unfit to take care of herself. And her father, Jamie Spears, is granted temporary conservatorship. Under this legal arrangement, her father has total control over everything she does, who she sees, where she goes, and what she does with the hundreds of millions of dollars she earns every year. But what was supposed to be a temporary conservatorship ends up lasting over a decade. Even if she wanted to contest it, with her father controlling her finances, she legally can't hire a lawyer to defend herself. She can't even seek a medical evaluation to reverse the conservatorship, because her father has sole control over her healthcare. He even arranges for 24-hour security outside her home. For her fans, it's really starting to sound like she's a prisoner in her own home.
Britney needs to know that she still has her fans.
And they aren't convinced that Jamie has her best interest at heart.
Leave Britney alone! Britney Spears. Hope you're doing okay.
The only time Britney mentions the situation is in a 2008 MTV documentary promoting her circus tour.
If I wasn't under the restraints that I'm under right now, with all the lawyers and doctors and people analyzing me every day.
This might be one of the only times she openly expresses her desire for independence.
I feel so liberated and feel like myself.
In 2009, a Britney Spears fan site starts a campaign called Free Britney to bring attention to the situation and to call for an end to the conservatorship. In the years that follow, she releases several albums, performs a 4-year residency in Las Vegas, becomes a judge on The X Factor, and releases a very lucrative perfume line, making those in control of her life very, very rich. So many of her fans wondered, if she was deemed mentally fit to do all of that, why couldn't she make decisions for herself? The Free Britney movement takes a turn in January 2019 after she abruptly cancels her Las Vegas residency. Her fans become increasingly suspicious, and they believe that maybe her father is behind it all.
They're keeping her hostage, and it's no good for anybody.
Shortly after, a mysterious voicemail is released on a podcast from someone claiming to be a paralegal on the case, and claiming that Britney has been confined in a mental health facility for months, involuntarily. And it all snowballs from there. Twitter threads, TikTok videos, podcasts, Instagram accounts, all dedicated to the Free Britney movement. They begin analyzing everything she posts online, looking for clues.
On Instagram, a user commented saying, "If you need help, post a picture of some flowers." 1 hour after that comment was made, she posted a picture with flowers.
Wait a minute. What is she pointing to right there? On her hat? I zoomed in. And that literally says, help.
People are posting in the comments, they're saying, wear yellow in your next video and blink twice if you need help. So she does both in the next video.
The movement, which was once confined to a very small group of loyal fans, blows up. Even celebrities start publicly voicing their concern.
Free Britney. I am wearing this shirt because we all love her.
While many of these theories are unconfirmed, it is revealed that Britney had asked for her father to be removed as conservator. But the judge in charge of her case denies the request. In response, supporters of the Free Britney movement take to the street, protesting outside the courtroom. Even Britney's ex-husband, Jason Alexander, is there.
The reason I'm here is to show support for Britney, for one, and that I agree with a lot of the claims made by the movement.
In February 2021, a New York Times documentary sparked renewed interest in the movement, as the legal fight over Britney Spears' conservatorship plays out in court.
We are nearing the end of the evil conservatorship.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I hear a little twang in her voice. I just checked. I think she was born in Mississippi and raised in Louisiana. That makes sense. I didn't realize that my whole life. I've been hearing her music, but barely ever heard her actual voice. That's kind of funny. But nah, free Britney for real. That's crazy. Like to have a father that's doing that, to me, that sounds kind of like Taylor Swift. I'm not gonna lie, like not the same, obviously, to the same degree, but I think Taylor Swift's father also runs all of her stuff and her decisions in that kind of dictatorship kind of way. Because I seen a video once where she said something against Trump, and then the father was sitting there looking at her like with despair in his eyes, and she's like, "Please forgive me," and she's like crying, and I'm like, why can't you have your own political opinion? But yeah, I think what's going on here is really messed up. I don't even know how like we live in America where this stuff is even allowed. How is your father able to put you in such a bind mentally, in mental? He has doctors, lawyers doing checks on her. Like he's completely controlling her whole body and movement. Isn't this trafficking?
You
This is
remember,
human trafficking.
but this is what you get the medical system in there. Like, look at what,
Isn't that
okay, for
legal?
example, Kanye West, when he had his handler that said, if you don't do this, I'm going to drug you and put you into La La
Well,
Land.
yeah, that's why I was talking about like the lawyers and the doctors and everything
Right?
like that.
So at a certain point in time, they could just get the right people like, oh, she's out of control. Let's get her here. And then they just put her in that place. Once they put her in that place, they get you the right judge. The right judge signs you over as like power of attorney, like where you take control over everything that she does. And then now you have to jump through their hoops and you can't do anything on your own. And like you sit down and say she's got the guards there and everything else like this. This is the kind of stuff like I get it because when I was in when they tried to strap me to that bed and everything else like that, when I did the freedom of information request, it said that I was still inside that facility as of May 22nd or 25th or something like that of 2022. Almost 2 full years after I was there, they still had me like I was in there, which makes sense on the way that they did all these things to go ahead and sell this and that. Like I was actually incapacitated, but I wasn't there. Right? This is a type of fraud that you see happen. A lot of the times they take their money, right? There's financial motivation because they want to keep the money rolling in. They think that they're going to do something. They don't like what they're doing. And then once they're in control, they never want to let it go. Right?
That's slavery. And then all the
Of
money
course
that
it
she
is.
makes goes to the father to do whatever he wants. And it's not because, you know, they're in dire straits. They're working together to get out of a hole. No, he's been enslaving her whole life and getting her to work and take all her money and do whatever he wants while also putting her in mental institutions and drugging her and abusing her whenever and using the law to enforce his slavery against her so that he can continue to enslave her and do whatever he wants. Like, and then getting the doctors and to drug her. Like, who is this man? Who taught him how to do this? Who told him how to give the Canadian MKUltra treatment? Who told for the people with Kanye West as well? Where the hell did these people come from? How do they find these and what how did he come up with this? He was just like, I have a daughter, you know what? I'm just gonna do this MKUltra stuff on her and prostitute her out or like sell her, pretty much be her pimp pretty much and
But
make money off of her, but for the
they were
industry.
they were
How do you come
but
up with these ideas?
you have to remember they were making money off her because she was one of those kids on the Disney Channel from a little kid. So she was her whole life. She never had a normal childhood. She never had a normal life. Like they had people crawling in everything that she does. And rather than think that, okay, maybe she needs a break, she's a human being. No, the camera's flashing in wherever she goes. And like, if you sneeze, everybody's reporting on it. And nobody really cared about actually her there. They just were like, well, what's the story? And so forth. So we're going to pull up another clip here of her talking in this situation. So
Okay, so on this beautiful day today, I've realized I need to get in my yard a little bit more. my goal for the future is to get a koi pond and put little fishy in there. I'm really excited about it. I love my yard. My house is beautiful, but it has some work to do. So
Wait, by the way, her dad holding the fish really like rubs me the wrong way because like we talked about that guy the other day who had 2 million swipes on Tinder with the holding the fish and he didn't get a single date. And now I'm just like, wow. Like the guy is like just wow. You know what I mean? Just like the people who have these outdoorsy kind of skills, are they just secretly just in some sort of messed up thing where they're all just like, you know, look at all the nice outdoorsy things we can do, but then they're out here enslaving people. Like that's just crazy to me. I
Yeah.
mean, they would have the skills maybe, but you know, anyway, side
Yeah.
note, but.
So that one there is just to kind of show that she does have somewhat of a natural voice, as opposed to a lot of the stuff that
But
we.
that's a different voice than what we heard in her video where she was talking on the documentary.
Yes.
Comment.
But I mean, you know, some of the things she got, I mean, the lifestyle and everything else like that. But then there's also the lot of the duress and the strain and so forth. We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be back on the other side.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day, and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Yeah, if you need any of the MyPillow products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis. They got lots of good stuff like the pillows, the bed sheets, the bath stuff. You know, I mean, they got slippers, all kinds of stuff. So go check it out and support a good cause, or you can support with what you're seeing in the ticker. There's a donor box, there's a give, send, go, or if you're watching on Rumble, BitChute, or Facebook, you'll see the links in the description, or you can go to all my links /the Karis Project and find a way to support. You want to keep, help us keep putting out the good content. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, also the fact that they said that she was 27 and had 2 kids under 2, and then after that took them from her and then put her in the mental institution is crazy. At 27, having 2 children under the age of 2, and then right after that they grab them and then put you in a mental institution, start drugging you. Like that would send any woman off the deep end. Like I don't understand how people think that that's normal. Like that's just, oh, you must have done something. Like that's just not a normal thing to do to somebody at 27 years of age. It's like that's not a typical age for people to start losing their mind. And now all of a sudden it seems like in today's day and age, people are all of a sudden losing capacity at younger and younger, 15, 13, 20. Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
The worst part of the whole thing is that she was worse coming out than she was going in.
Going in, yes.
Right?
That's exactly what I was, yeah.
Because now you saw some of the stuff with her dancing with knives and some of the stuff, and you're just like, what is going on? Right?
Well, she's like 40 something now, but when she was 27. But yeah, the dancing with knives. But the thing is, if you genuinely have a mental disability and you're genuinely ill, then taking certain medications should make you better. For example, like people, this is very different, but a lot of people make the, argument about ADHD or not. But you'll know if you have ADHD based on the way that you respond to the medication. If if you don't have ADHD, like people who don't have ADHD, they get high off of the medication. Someone like me, when I take ADHD medication, I don't feel that way. I feel perfectly fine and normal. I just function better. The results that people in college that were just buying the meds told me they experienced, I never experienced off of my prescription medication. But so what my point is, if you actually have something that requires medication, it's going to help you be better. It's going to improve your overall productivity. And, obviously ADHD is not like a mental illness, but I'm talking about if she really was ill, whatever they were doing to her would have helped her instead of her coming out entirely worse. Like that shouldn't happen. That means something is wrong and something's not working. You can't do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. It was worsening and worsening her behavior. Quite frankly, I don't even know if she has any bit of her brain. I mean, I don't know, because like they said blink twice and wear yellow if you need help, and she done it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she's in full capacity. You don't even know who's telling her who's reading the account. They don't even know she's actually reading the account versus if they're telling her to do on the screen. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we don't have that information.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, nobody will really know unless they were there in the situation, but we do know things that were going sideways. Let's pull up another clip of her talking about what was going on.
What am I going to do now that the conservatorship's over with?
Britney Spears breaking her silence, speaking out for the first time since the end of her conservatorship, posting a video on social media.
I've been in the conservatorship for 13 years. It's a really long time to be in a situation you don't want to be in. So I'm just grateful, honestly, for each day and being able to have the keys to my car and being able to be independent and feel like a woman, and owning an ATM card, seeing cash for the first time, being able to buy candles.
Spears ultimately giving thanks to her fans who fought for her independence.
In the Free Britney movement, you guys rock. Honestly, my voice was muted and threatened for so long, and I wasn't able to speak up or say anything. And because of you guys and the awareness of kind of knowing what was going on and delivering that news to the public for so long, you gave it awareness to all of them. And because of you, I honestly think you guys saved my life in a way.
Britney also attaching a caption to the video, calling the conservatorship demoralizing and degrading, adding about her family, "I'm not even mentioning all the bad things they did to me, which they should be in jail for."
Many people have asked about whether we will continue to investigate Mr. Spears. The answer ultimately is up to my client, Britney.
Her attorney, Matthew Rosengard, addressing a continuing investigation. Jamie Spears has always denied any wrongdoing in running his daughter's conservatorship. We reached out to his representatives asking for comment about the claims Britney makes in the video and caption, but we've not heard back. Britney's new video already racking up over 8 million views. The pop star hoping her story will help others.
I'm here to be an advocate for people with real disabilities and real illnesses. I'm a very strong woman, so I can only imagine what the system has done to those people. So hopefully my little story, hopefully my story will make an impact and make some changes in the corrupt system.
Man, this girl is traumatized. You can tell the way she's like moving and the way she's talking, like she's deeply traumatized. They were having her singing Miss American Dream since I was 17, no matter if I step on the scene or something to the Philippines. Instead, she was Miss American Slave since she was 17. Like, honestly, that's so sad. That's so sad, because how are you going to do that to your own kid, man? How are you going to destroy your own kid like that? That doesn't make any sense. And her sons, she has 2 boys. Like, that's sad to me. Like, that's really sad. I don't even know what else to say. And the fact that they have not just out the way investigated him further, that should have been an automatic, because if there's so many people where they're like, oh, well, we're going to just say that you're being abused because you have battered woman syndrome, and we're going to investigate anyways. And someone can say, oh, I'm not a victim. And they'll be like, too bad you're a victim. How many people have we seen where they forced them to be victims when they said they're not victims? and investigated and used all sorts of money and government agencies to ensure that people gone to jail. But where they have the sure proof that there was wrongdoings, and to the point of, you know, being able to cancel the conservatorship with Britney, but they didn't further their investigation and put people in jail, like that just speaks wonders. All they pretty much done was free her, but they didn't give her any relief. Those criminals still walk free, and they're probably still making her life miserable in some fashion or the other. So it's like, and she's still not getting the help she needs because she's out here dancing with knives on the internet. No, that's not funny. It's kind of like, well, what the hell is really going on? If they wanted to investigate and really give her the relief, they would have done it. I don't know.
I mean, at the end of the day, the whole point is that her family betrayed her.
Yes,
Like
they did.
that's really the whole point. And when your family betrays you, you're finished, right?
Yeah.
That's really that's the whole problem, where you're doing that and you're put in a bad situation and you can't do anything about it, right? And if your spouse goes against you, it's even worse, right? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
at the end of the day, when you're looking at it in your case, with all those accidents and injuries that were going on that you had with the lawyers there, if you were in the state where they put you in this mental hospital after your ex-husband beat the hell out of you, that would have been you, and he would have gotten every control of everything that was going on while you were in there getting drugged to all high hell, because the stuff
Yeah,
that they were giving you was making you worse, not
yeah, it
better,
was. They gave me
worse.
like 14 or 15 pills. Like it was messed up. I was passing out mid stride, walking throughout the hospital, just like dropping, um, just blacking out. It was really bad. I'd be walking and I would just like black out my eyes. But um, yeah, I had like 5 car accidents back to back to back. I was always a passenger. I was very unlucky. One time I was even a pedestrian. I was hit on the sidewalk by my professor with his truck. And one time I was driving, they hit me from behind, but I was never at fault. Doesn't matter. But um, yeah, being in that situation after having all that, plus then going into a situation with my spouse beating me morning, noon, and night, and putting me in the hospital. These people, yeah, they would have just done the worst of the worst because they don't care about the person who's actually. Which is why I say, where do these people come from? Because someone like me, who is already in such a vulnerable state, like physically and other things, having this addition of trauma added, where do these people come from is in my mind. Like, how do they learn to do these things and then throw people in hospitals and then start drugging them? And who teaches people to do this? This is what I'm saying, because they don't care about the person who's suffering. The person who's suffering, they take out more on them.
Well,
Like,
this becomes a means of control,
my
right?
my only saving grace was probably like the one psychiatric nurse that was like, I've been doing this for like 40 years. You have the most emotional self-control I've ever seen in my life. There's no way that you have any disability or nothing.
Yes, and they're like, when they tried to put me in that place and strap me to the bed and drug me and so forth, and I'll just pull it up so people can see here what it was doing. But I mean, they were telling me, some of the women were telling me, well, you're one of the most gentle people I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah, I'm not violent, right? And
Yeah,
this is,
no, if I was violent, I'd be in jail a long time ago.
yeah, so yeah, this is where I got to be when they came in and grabbed me and my daughter outside of the hospital because they didn't like what I was saying, right? So that was like straight up Kanye West treatment. And just for all those other people who didn't see, we'll maybe just pull up the video so people can see, and then we'll go back to a clip of her. But I mean, this is really what people need to understand, is that people the government's not our friend. They're not doing what's right and so forth. And keep in mind that this is what me and my daughter, we were going inside of the court to go in and deal with stuff. People didn't like what we were saying politically, kind of like they didn't like some of the stuff that Kanye West was saying, and then he got drugged. And then I mean, like, I got put on the bed after this, and my daughter got interrogated, and she was freshly out of the hospital not a few months ago after her ex-husband beat the hell out of her. He was beating her for a very long time, right? That's trauma.
I used to get beaten so much that I would try to calculate how many days I could go without getting beaten. I would try to like make it through an entire week without getting beaten, or 3 days, and I could never. Like,
Yeah, so
but like that's how bad it was.
let's just pull back up a little bit of the clip so people can see.
For what? This is an illegal word.
Oh, sorry.
No, it is not. That's no.
Can
This is a
you
lot.
back on sidewalk?
This is a lot.
Sidewalk?
This is a lot. You are stopping me from doing a lot.
Back up here.
What is the reason for the arrest? What is the reason for the arrest?
You will not. You not.
What is the
This is not a
reason?
lawful arrest.
What is the reason
This is
for
not a
the
lawful
arrest?
arrest. Do not.
What is the reason
No,
for
I'm
the
not.
arrest?
Yes, you are. This is a
What
lawful
is the
arrest.
reason for the
Pursuant to
arrest?
269.1.
What is the reason for the
I've
arrest? What
already,
is the reason?
I've already applied
What
to
is the reason for? What is the reason?
Do not touch it.
What is
Do
the
not
reason
touch
for the arrest?
You see this wickedness?
What is the reason?
What is
What is
going
the
to jump you
reason
to death? You will not. Father in heaven, I ask of you this day to pour out your spirit upon your children. And Lord, I ask of you this day to slay the servants of Baal.
What
Do
is
not
the
allow them
reason?
to touch her.
What is the reason? What is the reason?
I ask of you this day.
What is the reason? You didn't state the reason for the arrest.
Tell me the law. Tell me the
Whoa.
law. Tell me the law.
What is the reason?
Give me your arm. Give me your arm now. Give me your arm.
What is the reason? You're resisting arrest. No, what is the arrest? The public health order? No, it's not. That's not what it says. That's not what it says. That is not what the public. It's not what the public order says. I'm not required to go with you. Sit down.
Okay, and so people see what happens, and just so that's back in people's mind, this is where they took me and strapped me to while after that was going on. And while I was strapped to that bed, the guy that was actually filming it, his name is Robert Cannon, he took my daughter from Saskatchewan, North Battleford, out to the middle of nowhere in Turner Valley, Alberta, and he sexually assaulted her. And he sexually assaulted her multiple times. And this guy's been walking free for 5 years and everything else like that because, oh, well, I'm just crazy. She's just crazy. After she was being sexually assaulted in the mental hospital that she was forced into after her ex-husband, Dave Derry, beat the hell out of her. He was charged for this, and he had to go to court and convicted. But instead of protecting the victim, they forced my daughter into a situation, started to drug her where she was getting sexually assaulted. And my ex-wife, Kim, she told me that if I go to help my daughter and to bring her there so she could get some help after she's being sexually assaulted inside of the facility, she was going to end the marriage. So said, so done. I said, I'm not going to leave my daughter to get somewhere to be raped. I don't care if you hate her or not. Should I leave somebody to be raped? If it was our other daughter, Cares, I said, if somebody was doing that to her, would you like it? Oh, no, that's different. Really? So someone deserved to be raped and drugged after they got the snot beaten out of them, right? But this is okay, right? The only difference, they took everything I have when I was strapped to that table. Couldn't defend myself and made sure that was the case. This happens to people who have billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. What happens to people who have nothing, right?
Yeah, exactly. The people who have nothing, they have like no chance. Like they're gonna die 9 times out of 10. When you have money and like status or position and power, like you have a better chance of surviving a situation like this, because I mean they're gonna run you into the ground. Probably you'll end up unaliving yourself through like, you know, drugs or bad habits, like if you're famous or whatever, because they have to probably be more inconspicuous about it. But when you're like the lower end of society, like just a middle class person or regular person, something like this is more likely than not to just straight up take you out. Like this is just going to take you out. You barely have any chance.
Yeah, we're going to pull up this last clip here where Britney Spears talks about, you know, the more of her conservatorship of what went on over there is she says it was a setup. So we're going to hear what she has to say about that.
Britney Spears launches a scathing attack on her family today.
They literally killed me. They threw me away.
In a shocking 22-minute new recording she posted on YouTube, Britney also, for the first time, speaks out about what led up to her infamous psychiatric hold in 2008. She says right before she was hauled away, her mom, Lynn Spears, gave her this cryptic warning.
She said, "We've heard people are coming here today to talk to you. We should probably go, to a hotel or something." Then 4 hours later, there were over 200 paparazzi outside my house videotaping me through a window of an ambulance, holding me down.
Britney says it was all a setup.
I know now it was all premeditated. A woman introduced the idea to my dad, and my mom actually helped him follow through and made it all happen. There was no drugs in my system, no alcohol, nothing. It was pure abuse.
In the years that followed and throughout her conservatorship, Britney says she was constantly scared. In 2019, Britney announced her Las Vegas residency was canceled because her father's health was failing. She now says that was all a lie.
I went to one of the rehearsals and I said no to a dance move. And the next day, I was told that I had to be sent away to a facility and that I was supposed to say on my Instagram the reason why is because my dad is sick and I need treatment.
As the Free Britney movement picked up steam, Britney says she can't believe her mom and sister, Jamie Lynn, didn't step up to help.
I'm honestly more angry at my mom because I heard when reporters would call her, she would go innocently hide in the house and she wouldn't speak up. It was always like, I don't know what to say. I just don't want to say the wrong thing. We're praying for her.
Today, as Britney poses in a cheerful yellow dress, celebrating her new hit song with Elton John, Britney lobs this final grenade at her family.
I honestly deserve an award for acting like I was okay every day. I thought they were trying to kill me.
Britney's post, which she has taken down, clearly touched a nerve with her mother. Lynn Spears hit back, saying she loves her daughter, but their issues should be talked about, just the two of them, eye to eye, in private.
Yeah.
Of course it's private because you don't want it to come out like what you've done. Like that's just not normal. Like you abused her so publicly, like you can talk about it publicly.
Well, yes, it's because when you go into some of those places, they put you in places like that when you don't comply. When you're in a mental health facility and they don't like what you're doing, they call that room therapy. They strap you there. There's a body strap that goes around your body. Your hands and feet are strapped and their arms are strapped. You don't get to go to the bathroom. They have to come and let you out. You eat like that. You don't get to shower for days. This is the type of thing that they do that to you. That is torture. That is torture because, like you said, there was abuse. You know how often this happens where people abuse them? I know a mother right now that's sitting in jail in California, and they're trying to force her into one of these places because they're trying to put everything on her. What she was blowing the whistle on? Child sex abuse, right? Another mother was protecting herself. They wanted to put her in a mental facility because why? She wanted to report abuse, and her ex raped her multiple times, had bruises and everything else like that, was making reports to the police. They never did anything. So when you're sitting down, you're seeing a disturbing trend and you're seeing a pattern of events where they have somebody that comes in that turns on them and then gets them put into these positions. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, yeah.
This is
That's correct.
yes, this is absolutely.
When I was in the facility or whatever, like across from my room was like the isolation room or whatever, and they had this guy in there and he was in there for days and he would constantly have like blood curdling screams and he'd be banging his head on the door and they would have him like chained down as well. And yeah, it was just messed up because he was never violent throughout the day, like when he was alone. But as soon as they went in there, then he was like screaming and violent. Like, so it's like it brings a lot of questions. And yeah, it's not a good. I just don't trust any of those facilities after what I've seen in there. Like, even when they have no respect for people's privacy. One of the ladies walked in on me when I was in the shower, like, because it's an open kind of, it was, anyways, they don't care about you whatsoever. They just look at you like, kind of like you're an animal. You have to do whatever they say. If you don't, then they're going to threaten and try to threaten, coerce you, or punish you. I just straight up threatened to call the police on some of these people, and a lot of times you can't really do much, because if you try to retaliate, they'll take your devices from you. So if you try to have freedom of some sort, then they'll just rob you of it by, removing your ability to help yourself. I have family though, like my dad came to visit me, so that kind of makes a difference. But other people, if your family is, like my dad came to investigate the situation himself, so he could decide what he needed to do, see what was going on with all the information and everything, the evidence of what was happening. But if your family's the one that done put you in there, I don't know what to tell you. They are trying to kill you, because it's easy to die in some place like that. Like the doctor, when I was in there, he told me when I left, I need to be on like bed rest for several months, like up to 6 months, because he said if my health doesn't improve, I was going to actually drop dead, because my health, I wasn't taking in any nutrients or water or things like that. I was losing weight. I was super skinny. So my point is, it's very easy to die in a place like this because of all the neglect and the abuse. So if your family's the one that put you in there, then yes, they are kind of trying to kill you.
Yeah, well, of course they are, because when your ex stepmother, when she was involved in this and lied through her teeth and was like, "Oh, well, we think he's going to do this and we think he's going to do this," while she withheld the child, or your sister, for like almost 2 months before this stuff happened, and they were just there to provoke me. And then when I looked at her, she looked like she was doped up, she was dazed and stuff like that over a FaceTime call. They lied about everything, but then the lies of, I'm sorry, a white woman trumped all the evidence of a black man. And then I was just crazy. And no matter what they said, they wanted to do that and continue. And my mother was like, I talk to him every day. What do you mean? I raised him. He's the same way. But they just wanted to believe it. And my ex, she hadn't had any interaction with me, but they used whatever the construction that they had, because they didn't like what they were saying. And this is the way that we look at it. But I didn't have millions of dollars. They stripped me of everything that I had, shut our bank accounts down and all that kind of stuff. And this is the kind of treatment. If you don't have all that kind of money, well, what happens to you? And then certain kind of people that just predisposed to hear about it, and they're like, well, too bad for you, or you're just this, or you're just that, or, oh, well, just another dad that just ran away from his kid. No, sorry, I fought the government for my first one. You think I was going to go ahead and walk away and leave my kid? No, they literally tried to kill me multiple times, but then that becomes okay. But then I can't say anything because nobody listens, nobody cares. So I just have to deal with the fact that people try to kill me all the time and try to get my daughter raped and stuff like that. And we're doing all this kind of stuff. And then they're sitting down and saying all these kinds of things. I would like to see anybody walk a mile in my shoes that sit down and say that they want to talk all this nonsense. Go right ahead. You're more than welcome to. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, because this is a fate worse than death. And it's still happening right now. And nobody's listening a finger to do it. This is slavery in front of your face. And if it's happening to those people that have all kinds of money, it will happen to anyone else. Anyway, I'm going to close here with a prayer because we're running up on time. And I'll leave you with your final thoughts. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. Open our hearts and minds to your will. And Father, help the men to come together to work with the women to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, and our nation, so that we can have some protection for the children from this wicked, evil, satanic nonsense, is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks, guys, for listening, for tuning in today. Yeah, guys, you need to be more realistic about what's going on. I don't know why people just stick their head in the sand. I kind of just don't really care most of the time anymore. I don't care what people say or people think, because most of you would have dropped dead a long time ago or done really bad things if you were in my position, and I didn't. And I just know based on how weak you guys are in your everyday life. But for the lot of you who actually have sense, you start looking into this and actually understanding what's going on, because if you don't, you're going to fall victim to it yourself. Anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend, and we will. Ciao.